Hi, my name is Mara Irby. I'm an environmental scientist with the State Water Resources Control Board's Division of Water Rights. I'm going to show you how to complete the Delta Watershed Human Health and Safety Certification Form to continue diverting for minimum human health and safety needs in the event your water right or claim is curtailed and you have no alternative source of water to meet those needs. Minimum human health and safety needs are defined in Section 877.1 of the Emergency Reporting and Curtailment Regulations that went into effect on August 19, 2021. Section 877.1 defines minimum human health and safety needs to be the amount of water necessary to prevent adverse impacts to human health and safety for which there is no feasible alternative supply. Minimum human health and safety needs include indoor domestic water uses, including water for human consumption, cooking, or sanitation purposes, water supplies necessary for energy sources critical to basic grid reliability, water supplies necessary to prevent tree die-off that would contribute to residential fire risk, water supplies necessary to address critical air quality impacts to protect public health, water supplies necessary to address immediate public health needs, or other uses necessary for health and safety that a local, state, tribal, or federal health, environmental, or safety agency has determined are critical to public health and safety or to the basic infrastructure of the state. The emergency regulation provides an exception to curtailment issued in the Delta watershed to meet these minimum human health and safety needs. Diverters who meet the regulation's criteria may continue to divert up to 55 gallons per person per day after completing a human health and safety exception form, without further approval from the Deputy Director of the Division of Water Rights. If a diversion for minimum human health and safety needs requires more than 55 gallons per person per day, an approval from the Deputy Director is required before the diverter may divert above this threshold. If you wish to seek an exception to curtailment to meet minimum human health and safety needs, now or in the future, you must submit your request by September 10, 2021, regardless of the current curtailment status of this right or claim. If you do not plan to request a human health and safety exception, you should not submit this form. To submit an exception request, you must use the Delta Watershed Human Health and Safety Certification Form available on the State Water Board's Water Rights Form and Survey Submittal Portal at https://public.waterboards.ca.gov. You can find your login information for the survey portal on the third page of the initial order imposing water right curtailment and reporting requirements, which was physically mailed to all diverters in the Delta watershed on August 20th, 2021. Keep in mind that every water right or claim has individual login credentials, and you must submit a human health and safety certification form for each of the rights or claims for which you are seeking an exception to curtailment for minimum human health and safety needs. If you need assistance obtaining your login information, you can contact Division of Water Rights staff at bay-delta@waterboards.ca.gov or 916-319-0960. This tutorial is being recorded within our test environment using a revoked water right for the purpose of providing an example. What you see within this live survey portal may be slightly different as it is kept up to date less frequently than the main portal. All water rights and claims that received the August 20th order have access to the Delta Watershed Human Health and Safety Certification Form, listed here. Click Survey next to that title to start the form. The first page of the survey is informational. It describes the circumstances under which diverters should submit this form and reminds diverters of the September 10th deadline to certify their need for a human health and safety exception should their water right or claim be curtailed now or in the future. A separate form must be completed for all applicable water rights or claims. Please review the information on this page carefully and click Next to proceed with the form. The next page of the Human Health and Safety Certification Form asks the diverter to select whether their minimum human health and safety needs, after the exhaustion of all other alternative sources of water, can be met by 55 gallons per person per day or less. If so, select the first radio button. This acts as an acknowledgement and certification that these needs meet the definition of human health and safety provided in the regulation, and that alternative sources of water will be used prior to diverting under this right or claim pursuant to this exception in the event the right or claim is curtailed. If your minimum human health and safety needs after exhausting alternative sources of water would exceed 55 gallons per person per day, or you are unable to quantify gallons per person per day, such as due to an unknown population size, select the second radio button. By doing so, you acknowledge that in order to receive this exception, you must submit a petition demonstrating compliance with the requirements of the regulation and receive approval from the Deputy Director. This next radio button is required. By clicking this button, the diverter certifies that the diverter and all end users of the diverted water under this exception are operating under the strictest existing conservation plan for its place of use, or will be operating under the strictest existing conservation plan within 30 days of filing this certification. If additional approvals are required before the strictest existing conservation plan stage can be implemented, you must certify that all possible steps will be taken to ensure prompt approval. If you need to provide additional information for consideration, you may submit that via email to bay-delta@waterboards.ca.gov. The next checkbox is for diverters who are distributors of a public water supply, such as those that supply water to residences. These diverters must select this box to certify that they have declared a water shortage emergency condition and either already have adopted regulations and restrictions on the delivery of water or will adopt them within a time frame specified by the Deputy Director. The next radio button is required to complete the form and certifies that the diverter has pursued steps to acquire other sources of water but has not been completely successful or will be pursuing steps to identify and secure other sources of water. In the text box below, you must explain the steps you have taken or plan to take to meet the requirements to pursue other water sources. Lastly, on this page, if the water right holder or claimant is a public water system, enter the public water system identification number in the box below. Then click Next to move to the next page of the form. This page only applies to those who selected the second radio button on the previous page, indicating that they seek to divert more than 55 gallons per person per day for minimum human health and safety needs, or that diversions cannot be quantified on the basis of gallons per person per day. If this does not apply to you, please skip this page. If this does apply to you, please review this information carefully. Near the top of the page, it describes the information that you must include in your petition to receive a human health and safety exception for greater than 55 gallons per person per day, and subsequently, the information required for those who are unable to quantify the amount for the population their water right or claim serves. If you fit the first category, you must describe the specific circumstances that make the requested diversion amount necessary to meet minimum human health and safety needs, and list the human health and safety needs to be met by the diversion. Estimate the amount of water needed, clearly indicating the unit, rate, volume, and time step. Certify that the supply will be used only for the stated need. Describe any other additional steps the diverter will take to reduce diversions and consumption. Provide the time frame in which the diverter expects to reduce usage to no more than 55 gallons per person per day, or why minimum human health and safety needs will continue to require more water. As necessary, provide documentation that the use meets the definition of minimum human health and safety needs provided in Subdivision G of Section 877.1 of the Emergency Regulation. Approval of your petition may be conditioned on implementation of additional conservation measures and reporting requirements. If you fit the second category, regarding diversions that cannot be quantified on the basis of gallons per person per day, your petition must demonstrate that the requested continuation of diversion under the otherwise curtailed water right is in furtherance of the constitutional policy that the water resources of the state be put to beneficial use to the full extent they are capable, and waste and unreasonable use be prevented, notwithstanding the effect of the diversion on senior water rights or in-stream beneficial uses. Approval of this petition may also be conditioned as appropriate to ensure that the diversion and use are reasonable and in the public interest. Any applicable petition accompanying your exception request should be sent to bay-delta@waterboards.ca.gov by September 10th with the subject line, Petition for Increase to Human Health and Safety Diversions for Water Right ID, and then enter your ID there. Check the box at the bottom of the page to certify that you will be submitting a petition to meet these requirements. Once again, this is required if you selected the second radio button on the prior page, but if you selected the first radio button saying that your minimum human health and safety needs can be met by 55 gallons per person per day or less, you should be skipping this page, so don't click the box. Then click Next to proceed to the last page of the form. On this page, you must sign the form by entering your name in the field provided and note your relationship to the legal right holder or claimant. I'm selecting Other. If you do so, explain your relationship to the legal right holder or claimant in the box below the drop-down. You are also required to submit phone and email contact information. Lastly, you must check the box to certify under penalty of perjury that all information entered into the form is true and correct to the best of your knowledge. After doing so, click Finish and Submit at the bottom of the page to save and submit your Human Health and Safety Certification form. After clicking Submit, you will be taken to the summary of the form you have just completed. To save and print the form for your records, scroll to the bottom and select Show as PDF, and then take whatever desired action. If you return to the survey portal's water user dashboard using the link at the bottom of the summary page, you can return to the summary page for any completed form by clicking on Summary here. Or to modify the form you have completed, click Survey to re-enter the form. You should only make changes to the form in the survey portal if the deadline has not yet passed. If you would like to make a correction to your form after the September 10th deadline, please email staff at bay-delta@waterboards.ca.gov with the correction. You may also call the Delta Drought phone line at 916-319-0960 for assistance. Thank you for watching the Delta Watershed Human Health and Safety Certification Form tutorial. For more information, please visit the State Water Board's Delta Drought website. If you have any questions or need assistance, you may contact us at bay-delta@waterboards.ca.gov or 916-319-0960.